I am seeing a trend of so many women quitting their corporate job and giving zero notice. And I feel like if I had seen these videos like 5, 10 years ago, I would have thought these women are reckless, they're crazy. Like, how are they able just to up and quit a job with no backup plan, giving no notice, all of this stuff? So I wanted to get on here and share my own story of the path I was on in my 20s. I did quit my job at 31 as a marketing director, gave zero notice to my employer at the time. And then I ended up taking 8 months off, which I called a sabbatical, but really you could just say was 8 months of unemployment. And 2 years later, I do feel like I am a changed person. I'm still working in corporate America, which I can get into, but I have a lot of other things going on in my life. But more importantly, I've changed my mindset about work. And that's something that probably no one can even recognize but myself, but it affects like my entire mental health, how I view work, what I let stress me out, what I let go at the end of the day, and just how I view life now and how work fits into that. So I thought about breaking this video into several chunks because it is a long story, but I figure if this is of interest to you, then you'll watch. So I'm just going to go through the whole thing. It's probably going to be pretty long. But I wanted to explain like what led to me quitting a really good job, a 6-figure salary, what I did during my time off, and then what I mean by I'm changed, especially on the inside. So I was your typical overachiever who got good grades in school, graduated college early, started working immediately after graduating. I landed a job in consulting. At the time, I loved it. I felt like I was going to conquer the world. I genuinely enjoyed my job. Like, I remember being stressed, having normal stress, but for the most part was like living the dream, making good money, traveling, going out, partying. And I was ambitious. I was excited to get promoted, and I slowly formed into this really extreme people pleaser. I think corporate America, if you're not careful, can do that to you because you start to realize how you are recognized and rewarded and how to please the higher ups and what to say in meetings and how to play the politics of a job, which have nothing to do with the actual work itself. And I admittedly got really good at that, but I didn't realize what it was doing to my identity or my sense of self along the way. So fast forward, I keep working in consulting. I then pivot into brand management, which was like my dream career. I landed a job in brand management. Again, was like doing a pretty good job, was like mentally pretty good. But looking back on it now, continued to really people please, continued to raise my hand for more work, and continued to really start to idolize higher up people in these corporations. And therefore I would seek validation from them. And when I was doing really well, I felt really good. But when I wasn't doing well, or I perceived them as thinking I wasn't doing well, it was really hard on me. And so by my late 20s is when I feel like it all kind of started to spiral, where suddenly I felt like all I was doing was working, getting promoted, making more money, getting bigger titles, people pleasing, and getting the accolades and the recognition at work. But it became really unhealthy. Like, I couldn't turn my brain off outside of work. Like I said, I sought validation from people. Like, I definitely put people on a pedestal that were higher up, especially. And I got really caught up in it. And so not surprisingly, I sort of eventually hit rock bottom. I was 30 years old. I had just taken a position as a marketing director at what I thought was like my dream company, and 2 months in, I just felt like totally a shell of myself. I felt like I wasn't in control of the direction I was going on. I didn't understand why I was so unhappy, even though I had this great job and this great salary, things like people would kill for. But I just felt a pull in my gut saying, like, you need to take a break, step aside, and stop working. Like, I just had this voice inside saying, like, stop working. I had been working since I was 15. The minute I turned 15, had a part-time job, worked all through college, through high school, and then started working right after graduation. So I didn't know what it meant to not have to constantly be productive, to constantly answer to people's requests. And I think as an adult, like, thinking about it now, if you don't have that space to not have to do those things, like, it's really hard to discover who you are, to create a life outside of work. And sure, I had weekends, I had evenings, I could have been doing other things, but it's hard to explain, like, the mental state I was in. I was in almost like a freeze where I couldn't have the capacity to do things outside of work. And now I know, like, what burnout is. And I know that there's such thing as, like, even social burnout, where it's like after work, you don't want to talk to other people. You don't want to, like, create new friends or connections. So anyways, okay, so let me get to the part where I'm working as a marketing director at this company. And I had, for the last 2 years before this job, I had started putting money aside in what I like to call now an F-it fund. But it was that fund one day for when I thought I just wouldn't be able to take it anymore. Like, I wanted to have a financial cushion to be able to walk away from my job. So I agonized over the decision, but I was, like, crying every night after work. It was really bad. Only my husband saw that. And so he eventually came to support my decision of taking a break. We talked about how I would finance it because he's not in a job where he can support both of us. I still needed to be able to contribute my half. And instead of giving 2 weeks to my employer, which I know is, like, the rule in corporate America, I woke up on a Friday. My manager ended up at this new job I had taken being really toxic, had said some belittling things to me. And I was just like, I cannot take this anymore. So I quit. I contacted HR. I said, I'm done today. They were shocked, but I was done by the end of that day. And immediately I felt this weight off of my shoulders. Like, I could breathe. I wasn't scared at all. I had no backup plan. I just knew, like, maybe for 3 or 4 months, I'm not going to work. And I did get a surprise check in the mail a week later for some unused PTO, which was fantastic. But that time of not working was honestly the best time in my life. Like, I would go back and do it again if I could. I know a lot of people who take sabbaticals or take time off of work do crazy things and travel. And I did do some of that. Like, I did get to travel. I did pick up new hobbies. But let me tell you what the best part about not working is I just got to get up in the morning and have absolutely no one to respond to. I had nothing to do. I had nothing in the back of my mind saying, you've got to get to this. I could just be. I could just wake up, drink my coffee as slowly as I wanted to, take the longest shower, go for a walk with my dog and literally smell the flowers, be appreciative for the sun, like, things that sound so normal that I realized I hadn't done in years. I picked up a basketball for the first time in years. I hadn't played basketball in forever. And it's like something that brings me so much joy and that I grew up doing. And so the best moments looking back on those 8 months when I didn't work were just the little things, like being able to cook a meal from scratch, being able to, I don't know, just watch like a show I wanted to watch. But again, it wasn't in the context of like, I got to get up and go to work the next day. When I was with family, I could truly be present with family. I wasn't thinking about what was going to come Monday morning or what thing I had to get to as soon as the work week came up. So I relished in that. I also went through like my own spiritual journey, questioning all of life's big things, asking all the big questions, exploring religion, reading philosophy books, reading all kinds of books, practicing my Spanish. I got a couple certifications and things that I was just curious about, nutrition, yoga, but because I wanted to, not because someone was expecting those from me, or because I felt like I needed something to show from my sabbatical. So anyways, I didn't work for 8 months. I freaking loved it. It healed me in so many ways. And this veil was just like lifted. I realized, oh my gosh, there's this whole world outside of work, and there's people that do amazing things. And I was able to connect with other people who had gone down a similar path of burnout and taking a break from corporate. So if you are thinking about taking a break from your job, I know it's a very privileged thing to be able to do, but if you can and you have the financial means, I highly encourage it at least once in your life. And it doesn't need to come from this negative space like it did for me, like basically being like, I can't take this shit anymore. It can come from a space of, I don't want to burn out, or I just want to take some time to do things that don't involve work or being productive. Like, I think that's a really healthy thing to do. And it's way more normal and common than you probably think it is. So anyways, I had the 8 months off work, and then I ended up going back as a part-time contractor to corporate, which was incredible. If you've been a contractor, you probably can attest to this, that A, I wasn't working 40 hours a week. I was making pretty good money. And B, I didn't have to deal with a lot of the corporate BS that full-time employees have to. But I noticed when I went back to work, I just had a completely different outlook on work. Like, I realized I was no longer this people pleaser. I realized I wasn't willing to give 150% to a company. I was willing to give, sometimes 80%, especially like if you're 80%, some people's 50%. So I noticed a shift in that. I noticed that I could disconnect more from work mentally. I just noticed I wasn't as caught up in it. And there were some like specific boundary things I could speak to that I do, like blocking my calendar, not connecting my work email to my personal phone. But it was more so this mindset that had shifted within me, because I now knew what that healthy baseline looked like for myself when I was on my sabbatical. And I knew, like, I was always conscious of not letting myself slip back into my old ways. I still am. It's something I still check in with myself on a weekly basis, because it could be so easy to slip back into those old habits. So anyways, I did the contracting, and then I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea if I really was going to go back into corporate. I think when I first took my sabbatical, I had sworn corporate off, but I realized like, oh, I can go back with a healthier mindset. So I ended up taking a full-time role. I'm in a full-time marketing role now. And I'm not going to lie and say like, oh, it's paradise, it's amazing, I'm good, I'm this changed person. But I am significantly happier, better off mentally than I was before. And I credit it all to my sabbatical, my break from work. Had I not gone through that, had I not invested in myself, had I not used my personal finances to just create space for me, I would be, I think, in a really dark place, and I wouldn't be able to see life the way I see it now. Now, for me, work is just really work. I still try my best. I will always have it in my bones to be a type A person, but I'm no longer this like people pleaser who's trying to climb the corporate ladder. In fact, I've actually taken a one or two steps down in title, and I'm super okay with that. And I'm not looking to get ahead. I'm just looking to show up and do a good job, a job that I can go to bed at night knowing that I gave it my all, but didn't overextend myself. And then I have hobbies outside of work too that keep my sanity in check with work. I've established a lot of new friendships, and I've started to talk about my experience, and a lot of people can relate to it. And so it's been 2 years since I took that break. And I just look at my life now and it's so much more in balance and I'm so much better off than I had been in the past. And what's crazy is now I can like recognize people who remind me of the old me, people who are working around the clock, workaholics who aren't even conscious of like why it is they're doing it or don't realize like how they're hurting themselves and the trade-offs that it's causing to other parts of their life. And for what? Like seriously, for what? I don't know. Now it's like hard for me to relate to people who were like the old me. It's like, I don't know. It's crazy. So I think that's all. That's like the bulk of my story. I'm going to stop here. But if you guys have any questions or if you've been on a sabbatical, I'd love to hear. If you're thinking about taking a break from work, I would love to hear. And yeah, thanks for listening.
I want you to send this video to anybody who can't understand why teachers are crashing out and quitting. I mean, they get their summers off, so like, what do they really have to complain about? I have brought visual aids. Here we go. So everything I show you on this green clipboard is going to represent when I started teaching in 2005, and everything on this red clipboard is 2025. I did not teach the full 20 years. I took 7 years off because I had children and my husband's in the military. We moved a lot. Here we go. These are actual seating charts that I found as I was cleaning up my desk today. So this represents the year 2005, and this is how many of my students are reading on grade level. Everything in blue. So I got 1.5 students out of like a group are struggling readers, but pretty much everybody's reading at least on level, some even higher, okay? 2025. How many of my students are reading on grade level? Okay, this next is an average of how many of my students failed my class. Like they are going to have to repeat this. There's no recovering. They failed. This is 2005. 0.5 student out of all of my students. This is this year. This is this year. On average, I teach about 100 students. On average, this is how many students in each class are not passing. They're going to have to take this class again. Okay, next, the orange represents in 2005, parent involvement. I always had parents either in my inbox asking about lessons, volunteering for field trips, or anything that we needed for our classroom, volunteering supplies. 2005, 2025. Where are the parents that are supposed to be involved in their school? Behavior issues. Students in 2005 that I had to like write up on referrals, call home, maybe have parent-teacher conferences for poor behavior. Out of a whole classroom, there was always like at least one bad apple, okay? 2025. Put your cell phone away. Why are you showing up to my class 15 minutes late? Don't talk to me like that. Don't call them the N-word. You know, if there's anything that being a teacher has taught me, it's analyzing data and trends. And I just don't like the current trends. So that is why you are seeing teachers leaving like in a mass exodus, just in droves, exiting the classroom this year. And everybody wants to blame COVID. That's a small part of it. Most of it has to do with parenting, screen time. You put a cell phone in the hands of a small child and just give them unfettered access to the internet. Do you think they care about what's going on in my class? Send this to anybody out there who's like, teachers are indoctrinating our kids. Ma'am, your kid has TikTok. They have Instagram, which has a much greater influence than my geography class. I hope this helps.
Today is truth-telling day. Y'all want to know the truth? I'm a teacher. I don't want to go back. It's getting near the end of the summer, and I just don't want to go back. The pay sucks for all that we deal with. The mean kids, they talk back to you, they don't respect you. Their parents think it's all you. Admin, everything is so test driven. You know, your performance as a teacher is based off of test scores. How is that good? These students don't want to work for you. Like, it's just difficult. And I have been just tearing up the internet looking at different ways to make a different income and earn more for myself, because what I really want to do is work and travel. I'm a single mom, and that's all I've ever done is just work, work, work. And I want a different life for myself.
I quit teaching. This has been my 5th and final year of being a teacher. If you follow me on TikTok, you probably noticed that I have not posted in a couple months. I haven't posted since February. I have been kind of checked out and mentally and emotionally done with this job. I'm leaving, and it wasn't a decision that I have taken lightly. This is a decision that I have been thinking about all year. This year has been extremely challenging for me. I'm not sure if, for those of you who are not in education, are aware of what's happening in schools, but it's not easy. I don't think people truly understand what teachers are going through. Lots of children are not told no at home, which makes my job extremely difficult when it comes to having them hold accountability for their actions and their mistakes and following directions and keeping their hands to themselves. This year, I have been cursed at by both students and parents. I have been hit, punched repeatedly. And what hurts the most is the lack of support from the families when you are telling them and explaining what their child did. Instead of asking you, are you okay? Or my child did what? They ask you, well, what did you do to make them upset? Or are there cameras in the room? The behaviors that I have had to put up with this year are behaviors that I have never experienced as a teacher so far. I have cried so much, more than I have, like with all my teaching of years combined. I feel like I have taken off so many days from my mental health because I have not been able to mentally or physically bring myself to school. Education is not in a good place right now. It's really bad. I have so many stories that I could talk about that I will be posting later, but it's time to go. It's time to go. Again, this was not an easy decision, but I do feel that it is necessary for myself and my own mental health. And it does break my heart that I am walking away for something that I went to school with and had so much passion for, but that passion is gone. I parent more than I do teach. I'm gonna leave that at that. But I am excited to announce that I will be starting a new job at Heartland Church this July. I will be working as their digital communications coordinator, and I'm very excited for this opportunity. I'm excited to try something different and to start a new passion. So, thank you.
Middle school, junior high, and high school parents, teachers, and students, right? We're about a month into the school semester, and I'm here to tell you that the teachers are overworked. They have overcrowded classrooms. They are stressed out, and they're not getting the support that they need, right? And so a lot of times, parents want to know what's going on with the children, and then teachers try to address it, and you want to blame the teacher, right? And I understand that you want to support your kid, as you should, but what y'all forget is that some of these teachers are still young. Some of them, this is their first teaching job or even their second teaching job, right? And they have parents too. One of those teachers happened to be my son, right? I'm here to tell y'all, I'm tired of you little raggedy ass kids mistreating my baby, okay? And everybody else's baby out there that's trying to embark on this career of teaching. They worked hard, they got the degree, they went to school, and it's the passion they want. And a lot of them want to quit already, and they want to give up. And to tell you honestly, I don't blame them, right? I spent all that good money for that boy to go to school. But you know what? If his mental health is deteriorating because your little raggedy ass kids, then guess what? We just got to figure out something else. But I'm just asking y'all that please stay in tune with your child. Make sure that they know what they're going to school for. If they want to be successful, if they want to do anything in life, just let them finish this journey, right? But I'm here to tell y'all, get your little raggedy kids and stop mistreating my baby, because he got parents too.
I'm a former teacher, and here's the real reason why teachers are quitting and or not mentally well. I'm sure you're thinking parents and admin, and some even say the kids. And those are all part of it, but that's not the root. This is the root. The root is that teachers don't have control anymore. One of the big differences between a good teacher and a bad teacher is a good teacher has control of their classroom. Bad teacher, it's crazy, chaos. A good teacher feels like they have control, feels like they have everything going on, feels like everything's going well. But because of the current dynamics, there's a lot of teachers out there, great teachers who have been doing it for years, who now since COVID has slowly had their control stripped away by admin not allowing them to have free reign in their classroom, and parents that are no longer supportive and in most cases are combative to anything that they want to do. So the way I view it is teachers are in a straitjacket. Like, imagine a teacher in a classroom with a straitjacket on. It's like, can somebody get me that? Give me that. No, not that. And when you feel that constant lack of control, the stress is outrageous. So these great, amazing teachers who literally have their hands tied behind their back are realizing that I don't have that control anymore like I used to. So these teachers are stressed out of their mind. But then comes step one. The only way to mentally do well in those situations is to lower expectations and accept it is what it is. And for real life, this is amazing advice. Letting go of things you don't control. Just letting things be the way that they are. But in the teaching setting, that means that Johnny is not going to improve like the Johnnies of the past did. It means that you know that they're not going to get the education and are not getting the education that you know that they should be getting, because there's too many other deterrents and distractions and things like admin holding you back and parents that complain that it becomes impossible. So now what does that result? The teacher standing in the front of the class with the straitjacket on and just being like, okay, they're moving around. All right, I'm just going to do my best with Susie right here, right now, and the rest of like it is what it is. And then just doing that every single day. You wonder why teachers are looking forward to the next break and can't wait until summer? It's because they get a chance to just go, oh, and not have that, oh my God. And then once a teacher gets to a certain level where they recognize, I'm lowering my expectations of my classroom. This is not okay. So I gotta leave. And all you hear is the deterrence like, oh, you're weak and you can't handle it anymore. Oh, you should leave. While internally you're like, how can I do this? How can I give up on them? How can I admit that this is just not working anymore? And ultimately, how can I choose myself and saying I need to step away and leave those kids and just, hey, it's not good, but I can't do it. That's why if you hear a lot of former teachers, they'll say that the stress is so much less because it's not feeling that complete and utter lack of control. So the lesson here is twofold. Number one is it is a great thing to lower expectations in your daily life to limit stress. That means if you're a little bit late, you'll get there when you get there. There's no reason. It is what it is. It's okay. Oh, you ran out of time. You didn't get the groceries today. It's okay. We'll do it tomorrow. But the second part is, in education, what does that look like? That looks like the expectations of students before to now is down here. And how is it ever going to go back up? Give the teachers control back. And this is a really hard thing because I do think that parents should be involved in their education, but I think there's too many parents who are not good at that. And that's causing this issue that it makes it really impossible to find this balance between giving the teachers control and the parents not having the control over their own kids' education. But until this thing changes, until that changes, everything is just going to continue to get worse. Your veteran teachers are going to continue to quit and leave. And the new teachers that come in are just going to have lower expectations. And what is that going to look like in the future of America?